In this video, I'm going to be explaining the latest business I'm launching and wanting to build live with you in public every single week. And before I go into exactly what that is, I want to explain how we got here, because I think every good story has a really, really sad beginning. Okay, so a few years ago, I had quote unquote my dream job. I was the creative director for a marketing agency in the city I live, which for someone who has no credentials in terms of university degrees or really anything practical, that was the epitome of what I thought my career would be. For context, when I told my mum I had this job, she cried. So there was a lot involved with this. And the company was so young and fresh, and everyone there, the average age was like 21, I'd say. And a big learning curve across the board for myself in a managerial role for the first time, and also seeing what the startup company could look like. Fast forward, I was there for 2 years, and without going too much into it, because I've definitely worked through this, I got made redundant. And it was pretty much within the same time frame I bought a house. So I had now a fresh mortgage of almost $500,000 and now zero income. So I had to quickly pivot and launch what is now known as Stay a While, which is a content agency that specializes in content for Facebook ads or Google ads, YouTube ads, paid media in general. And that's been the last 3 years of my life. And it has been the greatest time of my fucking life. I have worked with, truly, not just saying this, some of the biggest brands in Australia. Velocity Activewear, they're about to open up Australia-wide. And when they started with me, they were doing 30K a month. With my creatives, they went all the way to 400,000 and hit their first $1 million month with me. They're now with another agency to run the ads. However, I still handle all of the creative stuff when it comes to campaigns. So that was like one of them. And there's a plethora of other brands that I could go through, but that's like my gem. But what had happened was the amount of brands I encountered along the way who had, let's say, the winning ingredients of a successful brand, but not the tools to kind of put it all together. And I'm finally at a stage now, 3 years in, where I want to give that away. I want to explain how everything I've learned with working with these brands can be achieved for smaller early stage founders. So that's why I'm so proud to announce that Bakehouse Brands is my latest business, and it is a live cohort where every month we will have an intake of new early stage founders come in and work live with me through their business. We will handle everything from the brand foundations and business fundamentals, attract and engage, which is everything content from social to paid. We're doing a convert and retain module, which is website, email, and even down to the fulfillment. And the last one is scale and sustain, which is essentially going to be community and long-term growth. And to be fully transparent, this is everything I have learned within the last 10 years of being in the creative space. The first 5 years of my career, I was a photographer, so I was more on like the front end of things, and then the back 5 years, I've been on the back end, in the marketing side, the strategy, the Facebook ads, the physically running the account. Within the last few years, I even got certified as an official media buyer. And that's also something that gives me the skill set to be able to teach what I want to do. And the reason I want to do a live cohort versus a course is really two main reasons. One, to be fully honest, I think courses get a really bad rap these days. And I think it is really easy to rinse and repeat other people's materials in just like a new color palette. And when I started conducting interviews to validate this offer, one of the biggest feedbacks I had from brands, which was my target audience, was that they felt like they had done the same course like 4 times, just from like 3 different people. And I don't want that. And the second reason being is I've always felt like my biggest skill set is not the camera. It's actually talking to people. It's being able to communicate my ideas in a way that they can apply and take forward. That's why I want to do this, because I believe that my ideas and the way I think and the way I can teach it is actually greater than my ability to capture it. So it makes sense. And as like a separate side note, I truly believe anyone entering the e-com, product, photography, video space, if you're starting it now, I would advise you to spend just a week looking at where AI is heading and look at everything from Google VO2, Sora, Firefly, and be brutally honest with yourself if you think you are going to have a career in this industry long term. You know, I'm not even 30 yet, and I want to work in an industry I love for a very long time, so I have to be future-proofing my business ideas. So my hope is that in these weekly series, we can sit down and I can show you each week what I'm building, how I'm building out the modules, how I'm building out the resources, and how I'm building out exclusive programs within inside. For example, some of the programs I want to have inbuilt to the cohorts that is actually real value is a community aspect to it. However, everyone and their mum is selling a community these days. So I have to provide value at every step of the way to even warrant charging someone $1,000. And to give you an example of some of the areas we're exploring an exclusive model pool. So if you're a brand owner that's in the early stages and doesn't have a lot of budget, but still needs creatives, we're gonna have a model pool inbuilt to the program so you can actually get them at a discounted rate. We're gonna have a highly vetted referral program where basically you can get access to some world-class other creatives and agencies, photographers, web designers at a reduced rate in the referral program. And probably the one I'm most excited about is guest speakers. And I think this is where softwares and companies like that masterclass that you probably get hit with all the time on YouTube really thrive, is because their business model is essentially bring in the experts, build the platform and bring in the experts. So my plan is to, once the cohort is done and you graduate into the community, that we're gonna be having a guest at the absolute minimum once a quarter. And that's just being realistic at the start, because I want these guests to actually provide more value than I could possibly give. So that would be maybe bringing the owner of Velocity Activewear, Millie, to go through how she scaled and go through any issues she's had with fulfillment or shipping, and then bring in an expert who maybe optimized the Skims website and being able to go through the 3 biggest things they missed. So that's my hope. My hope is that this is what I'm known for. And I hope that this can be like a little video diary that either one day I can look back and be on, well, that's where it all started. And 2, you can follow along and learn. So thank you to everyone who has ever watched these videos. The agency Stay a While is still here. It is still my bread and butter. It is how I'll pay and how I'll live. And I get so much fulfillment from doing that. But that is the mountaintop. And it is unrealistic for me to think everyone is going to be able to reach and afford the services that I offer up there. But imagine a world where I created essentially a funnel of clients, where not only do I help them win here, but I create clients by helping them win here. So yeah, I'll be honest, I'm really nervous, I'm excited, my livelihood depends on it, and I'm wanting you to be a part of it. So drop a comment if you are an early stage founder. I'd love to say hey, and if you have any questions about what you would like to see in a cohort versus a course, let's have a chat. We are also going to be launching a newsletter. The newsletter is probably the most interesting part for me, because I want to share kind of these videos in more bite-sized forms, so you don't have to necessarily sit through me yapping for 7 minutes. Although there will be more value in this, I still think not everyone's got the time. So the newsletter is called The Menu, and it ties into the whole Bakehouse Brands thing, which will be next week's video, which is all about branding and why I chose it. But yeah, so for now, if you would like to follow along and be a part of that journey in more of a written sense, the link will be in the comments in the description, and thank you. I'll see you all next week.